This is Christopher Chad Butler, the Princeton, West Virginia Police Department's Officer of the Year for 2017. Let's check in and see what he's up to these days. Here he is serving as a school resource officer, getting out of the car of an underage girl and putting his duty belt back on. And also here's Snapchatting an underage girl. But there have been many other allegations against him, and there's at least one video of this guy that I have seen, and I will try to bring you. And you can help too by sharing this footage and making sure that everyone has seen what you just saw, and everyone knows who this guy is. So they have no choice but to make sure that he can never wear a badge ever again.
Former Princeton Police Sergeant Christopher Chad Butler was indicted by a Mercer County grand jury this week on 2 charges.
I just want everybody to know that the department and myself, we have cooperated 100% with this investigation, and we will continue to do so. And the department and myself, we do not condone this type of activity. We never have and never will. I would encourage that if there are any more victims that pertain to Butler or any type of this activity, that if they would please come forward.
Welcome back to the channel. Hopefully all of us can agree that we have to get rid of bad cops. Now I have some breaking news for you today. This is a developing story, and I have a bunch more to come. So you are going to want to subscribe. This is one of those situations where this is from my home state, so I know a lot. I know things. And in fact, I already knew who this cop was because I've sued him at least 2 times. We all talk about bad apples. If I had to pick one bad apple off the top of my head, even before I saw what you're about to see, I would have picked this guy. At the root of a lot of these bad apple problems is a lack of accountability, where you have a police department or an agency that enables the behavior. Like I said, this officer, Christopher Chad Butler, or perhaps former officer with the Princeton, West Virginia Police Department, was named Officer of the Year in 2017. And ironically, if you actually go back and read that article, this is what it says, talking about how great this guy is. Although he didn't name specifics, Butler said the cases that make him feel as if he's fulfilling his calling typically involve the most innocent citizens among us. Anytime children are involved, that's when I feel like I've really accomplished something, he said. Children are completely innocent. They don't realize they are in a bad situation, and they really don't know how to get themselves out of it. That did not age well. In fact, it should have been a warning sign. This guy had been sued a bunch of times, including at least twice by me. So where do they put him if he keeps getting in trouble on the streets? Let's put him in the school. Next thing you know, an underage girl posts a TikTok video of this guy on duty in his uniform getting out of her car. Also exposed on social media is what I believe to be Snapchat. I don't use the app, so I can't say for sure. It's a digital communication between this officer and, as I understand it, an underage girl, perhaps the same one. I'm not sure. He's clearly in uniform, and this is what he has to say to her. Well, that was just lovely, wasn't it? That didn't seem like his first time saying something like that over Snapchat to an underage girl. And in fact, thanks to the community exposing this and jumping on this, there's now actually an FBI website seeking information and new victims who have encountered this guy. I'll link that below, but this is what it looks like. So as I understand it, he was exposed through the activism of the local community online. And in particular, it looks like this one Facebook page, West Virginia Offenders, is apparently doing fantastic work weeding out some of these people. Although they didn't know it, behind the scenes, there were some law enforcement that were investigating this guy. The breaking news is that he was just indicted. A grand jury just indicted him with 2 counts. 1, sexual abuse by a parent, guardian, or custodian, or a person in a position of trust to a child. And secondly, count 2, gross neglect of a child, creating a substantial risk of death or serious bodily injury. Now the second one, let me start with that because I don't have a picture or video from that, but I have a description of what that's about. Apparently, there is a photograph that surfaced somewhere of a young minor child holding this guy's service pistol and pointing it at him. So you have a police officer, apparently in uniform, handing his loaded gun to a young girl, very young girl. That's what I believe count 2 to be about. Count one has to do with the TikTok video that you just saw. So he was working as a school resource officer, which is basically a police officer who is stationed to protect students literally inside a school. And instead of protecting them, he was engaging in sexual conduct with one of the students at that school. How do we know this? Well, she posted a TikTok video where he's getting out of her car and he's basically putting his clothes back on. You can see him putting his duty belt back on. Now, why would he even let this minor child film a TikTok video of him putting his belt back on and getting out of her car? Apparently, he didn't know he was being filmed. So 2 felony charges. It's my understanding he's no longer working as a police officer with the Princeton Police Department. And I'm told a lot more is going to come out. There's actually some crazy stuff that's going to come out, not only about what this guy did, but about a potential cover-up from the inside. So very limited information right now. All we have is the indictment. More will be released. I know some of what's still to come, but I can't release that just yet. This illustrates why even multiple lawsuits hardly have any effect on accountability for bad police officers. It takes much more than that. And unfortunately, many times it results in something like this, where they just keep getting worse and worse and worse until now they're getting out of children's cars and putting their police uniforms back on. But there have been many other allegations against him, and there's at least one video of this guy that I have seen, and I will try to bring you. So subscribe both here and at the blog at thecivilrightslawyer.com. I will definitely stay on top of this one. And you can help too by sharing this footage and making sure that everyone has seen what you just saw, and everyone knows who this guy is. So they have no choice but to make sure that he can never wear a badge ever again. Remember, our rights don't end where your fear begins. Freedom is scary. Deal with it.